So, how are we starting? By kicking the
Yeah, by giving me a knee bruise.
Anyway, all right, we've started.
We're starting. Wait, look at our new chairs. We have new office chairs. For all 10 of you who watch us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, your last office chair was a dining room chair that was falling apart.
Yeah, it really was.
It's like the cracks in the seat were about to let the innards spill out. And then mine was a broken office chair that used to be in the studio that I got off Amazon, but it was so cheap that it broke in like 2 months. So I just brought it home and used it.
Had one broken wheel, so it was always...
You couldn't slide around. It was always a little, like, at an angle.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
we went shopping with Susie, and we got some new...
We love them.
chairs. They're perfect. We didn't install arms because for playing instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah, the arms get in the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I went to make notes about what we've done, and yeah, we've done a lot.
So much, because we did the 2-parter with Eric, so,
Yeah.
we didn't, we got 2 weeks to cover here.
Yeah, so we're going to try to get through 2 weeks in the same amount of time. We have just not go as deep on stuff. But lots of gigs. I mean, it's gig season, so gigs. And
Yeah.
gosh.
Where to start?
Yeah. Well, you were talking about how you've been seeing more crazy people than usual. Should we talk about crazy people?
Let's talk about crazy people. And not me for once. Yeah, I feel like something has been going on at gigs I've been at where, like, weird stuff has been happening more than usual. And I don't know what's going on. So, we were with Petty Nicks. Maybe this is a good way to cover kind of the stuff we've done. We were with Petty Nicks in Highlands Ranch, and we were at... We'll come back to this. I just want to talk about the crazy guy. At a Remax Realtors event that they had hired us to play. Mm-hmm. And a gorgeous public park kind of thing. Nice stage area. Anyway, we're getting kind of close to the end of the set. Mm-hmm. And this guy just wanders on stage.
Confidently.
And it was a Realtors event, and this guy had on like one of those Under Armour polo shirts and like salmon shorts. Salmon colored shorts.
I thought he was one of the organizers. Or an announcer.
Anyway, he looked corporate. And it was just like, we all thought maybe he was an organizer.
I thought that like he needed to say something before the next song started or something. Like he was like something was going wrong and
yeah, or just well, we'll get into it. I mean, people were leaving.
Yeah, in droves,
and we didn't 100% understand why. And so when this guy walked on stage, my first thought was that he was going to cut us.
Yeah,
like, hey, let me make an announcement, and we're going to just say it's over. We were 15 minutes to done. Mm-hmm. But no, he just dances around stage for a while.
Plays some air guitar.
I'm playing a solo up at the front of the stage because I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go up here. And I'm doing one of the big solos at the end of the show. And the guy, like, walks up to me. He's like, hey, man, let me hold your guitar. Like, I'm playing.
Yeah.
And he's like, let me hold your guitar. And I seriously yelled at him at that point. And I think it scared him off. Because
what did you yell?
Well, like some curse words and get out of here. Like,
oh,
I may have called him the C word. I'm not quite sure.
Oh,
but I was like, like, and we never saw him again. I thought he was going to bother us after the show.
I guess you scared him off.
I guess.
Or what happened after the show might have scared. Well, what was scaring everybody else off?
Well, okay, so we'll get back to crazy people.
Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back. Put
a pin in crazy people. I'm just trying to title the podcast, guys. Anyway, so then 10 to 15 minutes after that happens, we're done. And I bet we had not been done for more than 5 or 10 minutes when the craziest rainstorm starts. And that's what that's why everyone had been leaving.
Everyone left. Like, there were like 1,000 people in that field.
There were probably 1,000 people.
And they left. I've never seen a crowd leave us faster.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are we doing wrong?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I was getting mad. I was like, you guys, I was like, we're I was just thinking, like, what is wrong? What are we doing so badly that you guys hate us this much?
And
there were 15 people left at the end.
15. And it was because what they could see behind us was a giant, terrifying storm, which we couldn't see. We were getting some, like, drizzle, but we were like, it's, it's summer, and apparently there was a huge storm behind us, and then it hit us.
Oh, good. My gosh. When we ran out to the car to bring it closer to the stage and we came back, like, we were as wet as if we jumped in the lake.
I mean, by the time we got done, through my shoes, my socks were soaking wet. My underwear was soaking wet.
Yeah.
Like, we were soaked to the bone.
Yeah.
And it got, because you got to imagine, too, it's an outdoor park, and it was a very nice outdoor park with, like, they made a stage and a pavilion, concrete and all this stuff. And they had this nice little amphitheater-style seating area. I mean, it's small. But like 50 feet worth of this little.
Yeah.
But because it's Colorado, and when it storms in Colorado, it very often rains sideways.
Yeah.
While there was a cover, it was doing nothing to keep rain out of anything.
Yeah, only the very middle, like 10 square feet was staying dry.
Yeah, there was like this little... And so there was no choice but to just go ahead and load up. And I'm telling you, by the end of it, I was not even hurrying anymore. I was like...
I was, because I was cold.
Because it also dropped to 50 degrees immediately.
It had been like 90.
It was 90, and then... and oh my gosh, and the sweat was from being all sweaty for like 2 hours. And then it started raining and was soaking. And the water was making, like, sweat and sunscreen run into my eyes.
Gosh.
So my eyes were, like, burning like crazy. But after a minute, it was like, I'm not going to get more wet. So I'm going to stop running back and forth. I'm just going to walk because I'm as wet as...
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had that crazy guy. And I'm building a case for something weird going on. And then we played... Thursday at also in Highlands Ranch, different park, and boy, that was a show.
Yeah.
Gosh, what do you think? We were talking 1,500.
Yeah, maybe 2,000.
Maybe 2,000.
It was a big crowd. It was a gorgeous outdoor venue. It was
beautiful,
just a spectacular. It was like a piece of artwork. The roof on this place.
Architectural.
This was, I think, the place. I don't know if you confirmed it, but I think it was the place where a few years ago we were going to play on 4th of July, and there was a storm during the day, and the whole thing got canceled because it was the stages at the bottom of this natural grass amphitheater.
Yeah.
And at the time, it didn't have a rise to it.
Right.
It's concrete, but like it was just flat concrete, and apparently. For our show there, back then, there was a couple of inches of standing water on the stage.
Right.
So since then they've built it up. So there's like a 6 or 8 inch concrete pad.
Yeah.
So if that happens again.
And that was the same place. It's kind of a natural amphitheater. The crowd is up on a hillside, and they're kind of looking down on this stage. And boy, what a gorgeously designed stage.
Yeah.
Huge, really big.
Yeah.
We were like so far apart.
Yeah.
And then there. To be fair, maybe this doesn't fit the pattern because this guy has come to our shows before. But there is a guy that will occasionally come to our shows, and he will stand on my side of the stage and kind of yell at me almost the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, it's like angry encouragement.
It's like angry encouragement. And it's often mixed in with, like, come over here, get over here, hey, get over here. And he looks like Alex Jones or something. Like...
Right. He's this heavy-set, thick dude.
Yeah.
Not like overweight, but just like a solid
dude, just like a workout guy, but, middle-aged. And he's always just yelling at me the whole time. Like I'm trying to... And I never go over there because I don't know what he's going to do if I go over there. I don't want to get grabbed. I did get dragged off a stage once.
Really?
from reaching into the crowd. I was reaching in
Oh
and
my gosh.
high-fiving people, and somebody just grabbed my arm, and then someone else did, and they just pulled me right off the
Oh
stage.
my gosh.
So I'm a little sensitive to like
Yeah.
getting within
Ooh.
grasp of. I don't think he'll do anything. He's probably a very nice guy. He probably just enjoys the music, and that's how it comes out.
Aggressively.
But it frightens me a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't ever go over there. I pretend like I can't hear him. Anyway, then I'm building a case for crazy. Anyway,
There you go. That's your podcast.
there's the podcast. Building. There you go. So then Saturday I was playing with Half Zen. And we were at another outdoor thing, and this one was one of those outdoor things where there wasn't really a stage. Like sometimes it's like, there's a stage area, but it's not separated. It's not higher. It's just an area of the. Anyway, we're about done with our first set, and Jonathan is in the middle of the, hey, we got one more song. We're gonna take a short break and come back, and this woman comes up, sobbing. Like tears running down her face, and she's sobbing, and I don't even know what the whole thing was, but she was saying something about how it was her anniversary, and she was there with some guy who was the guy's just standing there watching this happen. He's not helping us at all. And something about it was their anniversary, and she doesn't get to go out very often, and it was just like, we were like, and so Jonathan had to completely stop talking and be like, I mean, she was not, like, for a second, he tried to, like, kind of keep talking and kind of, like, shoulder her out a little bit, but she was, like, not.
Oh my
She was, like,
gosh.
making him, like, turn around, like.
Oh my gosh.
To tell him something about how she was happy to be out that day or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was.
That's crazy.
It seems like a string of things, and I feel like I'm missing one, but those are the ones that come to mind. It was, and I mean, this lady she's sobbing, tears running down her face. Mm-hmm. I have to ask Jonathan because he wasn't singing lead on the last song. He was turning it over to Alan, who was going to sing the last song of that set. And that was part of what he was talking about. And then, like, he just was like, all right, I'm going to, like, you guys go ahead. I'm going to go over here with this lady just to get her off stage.
Oh, so he might know what?
He probably knows what the whole deal was, but he just, in order to just get her off stage and solve the problem, he was like, hey, I'll go over here and talk to you. Let's not talk here. We'll go over here. And luckily, like I said, someone else was going to sing lead on the last song of the set. But what is going on? I'm telling you.
It's dog days of summer. It's hot. People going crazy.
Yeah, I guess. Boy, it has been an eventful couple weeks.
Yeah.
Let's reset and let's maybe talk about some of the other things that have gone on. I'm looking off camera because I'm looking at our list here.
And that's all my stuff. You had other stuff that I didn't even put up on there.
Oh, yeah, you didn't take the time to put my stuff on the list. That's fine. That's fine. Anyway.
Well, actually, let me talk about a not quite life-changing event.
Uh-huh.
You ever have that sense that you recognize a fork in the road in, like, your lifeline, where, like, something happened by chance one way where it very easily could have gone the other way, and you see those paths widely diverge? Like, I felt
those things happen, yeah.
Yeah, I felt that way about Shanti when she died. Like, I felt like if Melissa just hadn't taken her, or if I hadn't, whatever,
Sure.
whatever, like, Shanti would still be here. And then over time, those paths, those lifelines diverged. I feel like I am on the lucky side of a fork in the road right now. And I am trying to absorb the lessons as if I went down the wrong path and then got a chance to do over.
I think I know what you're talking about. I'm very interested. Yeah.
So I was on the way back from Vail from doing a wedding on Saturday night.
Yep.
Nobody on the road. Very clear road.
After midnight, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I left at 11:30.
Okay.
Yeah. 11:20. Weather was great. Road was dry. Hardly any traffic. So yes, I was speeding a little bit. Not anything crazy, but I just wanted to get home before I got sleepy. I was in the middle lane, and all of a sudden, in the left lane, I saw fly by the dead body of a deer, taking up the entire left lane. The head was a little bit into my lane, but I didn't hit the head because it was only like a foot into my lane. But
And you said it was big too.
it was a big deer.
Yeah.
Regardless, any size of deer, if you hit it at 80 miles an hour,
Yeah.
that is the biggest speed bump you can possibly imagine. And
Yeah.
I would not have been able to, I mean, maybe I would have slowed down some, but I would have hit that thing at least 50. You know?
Well, and you said you saw it last
I
minute.
saw it pretty last minute.
Yeah.
So it didn't scare me until the next morning when I was thinking about like,
Right.
man, like if I had been in the left lane and seen it no earlier than I did see it, my car would definitely be totaled.
Definitely.
Definitely be totaled. And who knows what injuries I would have.
You know, it might have launched the car. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
you talk about it
Yeah.
being a speed bump and you're going
Yeah.
that speed.
Yeah.
Again, had you even gotten your speed down to 50.
I still would have launched and maybe flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the lessons I'm taking from this are, I'm just gonna completely obey the speed limit at night. First of all, I'm gonna use my brights more often so that I have I can see further into the distance.
Sure.
And basically, I'm just going to make sure that whatever distance I can see, I can stop in. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, you just kind of assume that like when it's I-70 and everybody who is on the road, which there weren't very many, everybody's going about 80 miles an hour.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
Not 80, but
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, the speed limit is 65. A lot of people are going 75.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
anyway, I'm grateful to be here, safe and sound. Nothing happened. Car's fine.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
It's-
I'm so grateful too. I mean, that could have been, you know.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, small tip, it is worth it to pay attention to the terrain around you.
Yeah. If you can see it, though.
If you can see it. It
yeah.
was nighttime, and sometimes you can see and sometimes you can't, but you'll have very steep areas, and then you'll have naturally lower sloping areas and stuff, and those are going to be crossing places for animals. But, gosh, what a terrifying thing.
Terrifying in retrospect,
Yeah.
you know? And so I'm recognizing that I got very lucky, and I'm continuing on an uneventful lifeline where my car is still intact and my body is still intact and everything is just fine.
Oh my gosh, and you know that's so scary because what would have happened? You were out. You were still kind of far from Denver, and
Yeah, I was pretty close to Denver at that point.
well, but still, I mean,
But yeah, I mean,
you know.
I mean, I'm sure someone would have seen the accident sooner or later because it's
Right.
not like there was nobody out. It's I-70.
yeah, you weren't in the middle of nowhere
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Gosh, remember that one time we were driving back from a gig in, I think Nederland or something. We were somewhere in the near mountains, and we're just driving along, and that woman like stepped out,
Oh my gosh.
and we almost hit her.
She jumped out into the
Jumped
middle
out.
of the road waving her arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had one way or another, you know, it's mountain windy roads, and in that area there isn't a guardrail or anything, and then it went down, what do you think, 25,
Yeah.
30 feet,
Yeah.
whatever,
To a creek bed.
down to a creek, and their car had gone off,
Yeah.
and when we stopped, because this woman jumped out,
She must have tried to stop a lot of cars because she risked her life.
she risked her life, she was not taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
So and it was like out in the mountains on a 2-lane.
Yeah.
Like this was there might also cars weren't going by that often.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
You know, nowhere in Colorado is deserted, but at the same time, like, you know. But anyway, they had rolled their car, and sure enough, their car was sitting on its wheels, granted, but 30 feet down this grade in
In the creek.
the creek.
Yeah.
You know,
And one of them was injured to some degree.
to some degree. And gosh, you just go like, you know, you could theoretically be in a place where you would have to wait a minute for help.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
So with that story, we took them to the hospital.
Yeah, we took them to the hospital and whatever. And whatever. Anyway, it was a scary thing. Like they were really but gosh, I'm so glad you're okay. I was so
Yeah.
you know, well, to take a step back, how did the gig go?
Oh,
to talk about the real musician
Yeah.
stuff. Sure, you almost died, but how was the gig?
Well, it was great. I went in with a lot more confidence on this one than I did on the previous ones. Not that I haven't had very many bass gigs with Diamond Empire. I think this was either my second or third.
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Either second or third.
Right.
I think second. But I felt so much more confident. And actually, I'm going to roll back a little bit. I'm going to roll back a week.
Okay.
Because I had a mental breakthrough on Monday night. I went to a Diamond Jam, which was like they had a showcase for clients, and then afterwards they had a quote jam. I thought it was sort of like an audition for like newbies like me, but I don't know what it really
I feel
was.
like that was a month ago. Like, boy, we've had a action-packed couple weeks.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And I was a little, as I always am, I was a little nervous before I got up on stage because bass is still my second instrument, voice is my first. I'm super confident on voice. And it was kind of funny because I walk up with the bass and, that it's all backlined because, we're not changing gear. But the bass player who was there, and I don't know who it was, he points out where his chromatic tuner is, which is also a mute pedal.
Right.
He's like, all you need to do is hit that and you got sound. And I was like, cool. And I plug in and I start tuning. And he's like, you just hit that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm tuning.
Yeah.
I'm using the chromatic tuner to tune, dude. I mean, all I said was, yeah, I'm tuning. But I was like,
sure.
Here I am. I'm like this middle-aged woman in a dress walking up with the bass. I was like fumbling with my strap.
Oh, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, I was like fumbling with my strap. It was like super twisted around. I was like, looking like I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so he's probably like, oh, she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. And then as soon as my hands hit the strings, I was in it. I had no worries. I didn't even think. The connection between pitch and my fingers has come a long way all of a sudden.
Right.
All of a sudden.
Right.
I saw hints of it in some of my Pamela Makala gigs earlier a few
Sure.
months ago, but something has clicked where I am not thinking very much now. I am the musical connection is in my fingers more than it's ever been.
Right.
It's so cool. And so when I went into the Diamond gig on Saturday at Vail, I just had that knowledge. And I didn't need to rely on my charts nearly as much as before. I just needed a chart to remember the key and maybe check the structure, get a little reminder about this and that. But like, my brain knows the songs.
Right.
So if I would get lost, I would actually just rely on my ears, not my eyes. And it was such a cool feeling.
That is a breakthrough.
Such a cool
I know
feeling.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, interestingly enough, little tip that might help, and I may even start doing this a little bit too, not for every gig, but for kind of showcase and stuff where you're not. Another bass player I play with, Tim, he puts on his set list, he puts just the first note that he's supposed to play in whatever song, because he's like, basically like, once I start, then it all floods back.
Yeah.
But when you're looking down the set list and you're like, oh no, what's about to, like, and he's just like, if it starts on a D, I just write D right by the side of the thing. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's kind of smart. Just like, because once you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
wow, that's such a great breakthrough.
It is a great breakthrough. Yeah. And it was good to have that confidence because I could not hear myself very well at all. The room was mostly large windows, floor to ceiling windows, so it was and it was high ceilinged, so it was extremely boomy.
Yeah, that'll make it boomy. Yeah.
It like nobody on stage could hear me. They could hear there was bass happening, but it was just like this big
Yeah, exactly.
just this big muffled pillow. I had the mids and the highs turned way up, but I couldn't hear them at all.
You never play with that much bass relative to some people. I mean, you play with a fair amount of definition.
Yeah.
Dialed into your amp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just disappeared into the massive bodies and the room.
Yeah.
Even there's one song with some pops in it. We Are Family. It's like, bam, bam, bam. And I did those one time. And I was like, oh yeah, I remembered. But I was like, I can't hear it. I couldn't hear at all anything high. And so I am grateful that I've had enough gigs where I couldn't hear myself very well, or I couldn't hear the definition very well, that I was able to work with that.
Yeah.
I could feel quickly enough if I was off, not really hear it.
Yeah.
It's just a sense of like, something's not right, must be me.
Yeah.
So overall, the gig went great. I had 2 songs that I guess you could say I screwed up. One, because the keyboard player was signaling something to me. He was signaling some numbers with his fingers, and I was like, am I 2 bars off? Like, am I on the wrong side of the chord turnaround? Like, what is going on? And so I was really thinking about like, no, I am in the right place. And then the one part of the song that's different was coming up, and I missed it because I was being distracted. And then, and that kind of screwed up the whole song because nobody knew where we were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one was going from Superstition into I Wish as a medley. First of all, I didn't know when we were going to switch until the cue happened. And then I couldn't get my head into the riff fast enough.
Right.
I know it very well. I mean, if I start from 0, bum 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 bum, I can sing
Yeah,
like
but
it was like being in one song and then switching immediately into a different song. I had trouble figuring out.
It just occurred to me those songs are both in E flat.
Yeah.
I never thought of that before. Huh. Well, it makes them ripe for a medley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are my bass gigs. Had a couple Jacob Larson gigs, or no, I had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, one gig with Jacob.
Which sounded like it was perfectly good, but
Mm-hmm.
hot and sweaty, like so many of them are.
Yeah. It was 3:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday in Greeley. Fortunately, we were in shade.
Right.
Thank goodness.
I mean, yeah.
It was fun. It was my first gig with Morgan.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
We were talking about that. Morgan Lowe. Mm-hmm. Is seemingly everywhere these days.
Yes. And I'm so happy. It's like just performance highs, little tendrils getting in everywhere.
I know. So I think we've maybe even talked about it. Morgan started taking lessons with you
8 or 10 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
and then stopped for a while and then came back and then has buckled down and is now a performance art teacher and is doing a lot of the not admin, but she's taking the reins on some.
Yeah, she's the showcase project manager.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does some random admin stuff and some printing and things.
And
And she's in like
teaches
4 or 5 tribute bands.
4 or 5. Yeah, Stone Beat with our buddy Bobby.
Griert.
Yeah, and Tina Turner.
The Tina Turner tribute.
Yeah, with Ian Rollins
And Steve Cram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then she's
a couple of
playing
others
Jacob
as well. And she's in Diamond Empire Band now
Diamond
too.
Empire bands.
Yeah.
She is just she's blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and couldn't happen to a nicer or more
Yes.
qualified person.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great to see.
I love it.
What else you got on that list?
Let's
all your
see.
dumb big hikes.
Oh yeah, I did some dumb big hikes. So trying to enjoy Colorado summer here. I did the Manitou Incline, which is in Manitou Springs.
Which is a wacky thing. Did we not talk about this?
I don't think we did. Does it feel like we did?
It doesn't matter.
I don't.
It's basically a
so.
giant staircase.
Yeah, it's a mile long,
Yeah.
but it goes up 2,000 feet over 2,687 stair steps.
Right.
So there's no flat part. It's all steps. And it is crazy. And I thought, 2,000 feet. I've done hikes that are, just the week before I did a hike that was 3,000 feet.
True.
Kind of killed me, but
Yeah.
I figured 1 mile, 2,000 square feet, 2,000 feet up. If I just take my time, I can just do the whole thing in one
Right.
go. I had climbing trekking poles, and I was like, as slow as I need to go, I'll go. I just want to get to the top without taking a break.
Right, because there's like a Target up there, or what is
A Target?
like a Target store with the.
Oh,
I lost track of why you were doing.
There's
this.
a nightclub and a bar at the top.
Oh, okay. So there is something at the top. Anyway,
Actually,
go
there
on.
was a guy with a boombox playing dance music at 7:00 in the morning.
Oh my gosh! But you're climbing this.
I'm climbing. I get to I do 1,000 steps. I'm like, oh, no problem.
Yeah.
This is not going to be too bad. I'm feeling it, but like I'm halfway done practically,
Yeah.
or at least 2/5 done. But the thing is, it gets steeper as it goes. So you start out with like kind of normal, like maybe sort of long steps, not too high, and then by the end, it's like every step is 2 feet up and 1 feet in. It's just like, oh my gosh. And so about at step 1,800 or so, I started getting dizzy and my limbs were tingling and nauseous. And I was like, if I don't stop right now, I'm going to throw up in front of everybody. Because there was a lot of people there. A lot of people.
Yeah, because...
Yeah, it's a thing. So I just sat down and put my head on my knees and rested 5 or 10 minutes, and then I was okay, and then I finished it. Yay! So I did that.
Which, that was a big one.
Checking it off.
Checking it off. But then also you guys went to Indian Peaks.
Yeah, up near Eldora or Nederland.
We've camped out there.
Have we?
One time, yeah, we did.
Okay.
And it was when they had a fire ban.
Right.
And so we couldn't have fires, and it wasn't.
And
that
it was
fun.
smoky.
Yeah, it was real smoky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but you went there for like a big hike.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I think of it as a big hike because it was 10 miles, about 2,000, I think 2,500 feet elevation, something like that. But I went with my buddy Suzanne, who's a water skier and an outdoors person, and her friend Joe, who is literally an outdoor guide. That's what he does for money.
Oh my gosh.
He guides outdoor trips, like rafting and hiking and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
So they were texting about hikes, and they were like, how about we do this fun one? And I was like, how long is it? And they said, it's about 14 miles, 3,000 feet. And I was like, can you dial it down a notch for me, please? I don't think I'm up for that.
I guess there's levels.
Yeah.
Of everything.
Because I had to do a gig that night too, I think.
No, very definitely. We had a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous. Tons of wildflowers. It's just another planet up there once you get above tree line. And
yeah, once you get up to that alpine
views.
thing. Although I can attest to there is so much of a difference between 2,000 feet of elevation over a mile versus 2,000 feet of elevation over 3, 5, 10 miles. Those are very different. That was a short distance at the stair.
At the incline.
Yeah. Boy,
Did you know that there are people who do marathons on the Manitou Incline? Like, they'll run the entire thing 13 times. I can't imagine doing that more than once in a day. It's insane. And there are people who try to set records for, like, number of times they've done the incline in a year. Or how few days they can do 100 times. People are crazy.
People are crazy. Building a case for crazy part 2.
Oh, yeah. Building a case for crazy.
Including some of the stuff you have come up. You have built yourself quite a week coming up.
Yeah.
And no, It isn't this week. It's next week. You're going to do the Via Ferrata.
Yeah.
Which is a.
It's like a climbing thing, like where they have fixed ferratas, like iron.
Yeah,
right?
iron. And
so
Via is path or street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5 of us are going up to A Basin and doing North America's highest Via Ferrata. So it's like a climber's thing. We're not going to rappel, but you're climbing attached to ropes.
Yeah,
apparently.
Right. For safety, it's just little hand and foot holds.
Yeah. Along the east wall of A Basin.
A Basin, which is a ski area that you have gone to a bunch.
Yeah.
But we got some Petty Nick's shows coming up. We got the Castle Rock one coming up. That's going to be really fun. And we are at Denver International Airport opening for
Ambrosia.
And
I queued up since I couldn't.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. So since I didn't know who Ambrosia was, but as soon as I heard their music, I was like, oh yeah, I know who these people are. So like, for example. You know this band, right?
Yep, here we go.
Of course you know this band. Anyway, so the top 3 hits are huge. I know them well from
there's
being
70s.
a kid.
Yeah,
70s, early 80s band. So we're opening for them at DIA. It's under the hotel, like that plaza area. Yeah.
So, Yeah, we got that to do. That's another daytime one. I do not like playing rock and roll music in the daytime.
Yeah, we're playing 2:30 to 3:30.
I know. I mean, I don't like doing anything in the daytime, but especially playing rock music. What else is going on?
Oh, I'm gonna go see Alanis Morissette on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Kristen
said it was one of the best shows she's seen. I wasn't gonna go see it. I mean, I love Jagged Little Pill like everybody my age did.
Yeah.
But I had been thinking, man, that's like a single album to do a reunion tour on from 25 years ago. But Kristen said it was an amazing show. So I like amazing shows.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see her.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Another gig with Jacob Larson in Brighton next weekend, and we've got a showcase coming up.
Oh, right. Yeah, we sure do. Yeah, I should probably start working on that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
And about an hour ago, I bought 2 basses.
I know.
You came home and I was bass shopping, and you're like, "Oh, that's so sexy."
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You come home and your wife is shopping for guitars. It's like,
Turn you on?
dear Penthouse, I never thought I would write one of these letters, but like that's pretty cool. Like, yeah.
So they're Sire, Marcus Miller, 5-string basses, both of them V7 series, which means they are jazz basses, so they have 2 pickups that can give you bigger variety of tone, and the V7 series have a switch for switching from active to passive pickups.
Yes.
Which will be fun to have. So I got both, so I can play them both and then return one.
Yeah.
Assumedly.
Do you want to do takeaways or do you want to do recommendations?
I have some takeaways.
Uh-huh.
I need to relax my left hand playing bass, for sure, because I could tell that by the end of the Diamond Empire wedding gig, this tendon on my thumb was more tired than it should be. Mm-hmm. It felt like, I mean, it was fine the next morning.
Right.
But it felt like the kind of thing that would give me an injury if I kept it up. Right. So I gotta take away, need to relax. The key to life, right? Just relax. Do things the easy way. Do you have a takeaway?
Yeah, no, I guess I don't have any takeaways.
Okay.
I do have a recommendation, though.
Right.
I'm going to recommend, because it's hilarious, I made you listen to it. I discovered a new genre of music.
Oh, yes.
And it's called easycore.
The opposite of hardcore.
The opposite of hardcore is easycore. And it is apparently very Midwestern, very middle of the country.
Okay.
And it's a combination of like metal and maybe country or pop or something. Mm-hmm. And I highly recommend checking out an artist called Bill Murray, which is stylized as Bilmuri. Mm-hmm. And the song I've been into is called Better Hell. And it is a weird and oddly enjoyable mishmash.
I liked it.
I like it too.
And I don't like metal or country, but I liked them together.
I know. And it's got like little breakdowns and stuff. Like they get through the chorus and then they have a little jump, 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 jump. So yeah, check out easycore. It's really weird. It's all the head nod of metal and the good melodies of country. It's an interesting thing. Isn't it amazing that people keep finding new things to do? It's unbelievable. Yeah.
We should just like have 2 piles of paper that have different genres on them, and just pick one from each pile and like figure out what that's gonna be. Let's see, Brazilian metal.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Exactly. Yeah, just gent with a bossa nova rhythm.
Yes.
Oh boy, I've named this podcast like 10 times.
Yeah.
All right.
That's enough. That's
let's knock it off. And thank you guys. As always, we are sponsored by Performance High.
Voice and Music Studio.
There you go. And thanks so much. And we will see you next time.
See ya. Have a good week.